Hello everyone, my name is Polar Panu, and welcome to World of Warcraft, patch 5.1, Landfall. Well, one of the big things with this newest patch is the Brawlers Guild, which everyone seems to want to get into. And, well, if you went and have done your research, you probably have found there's two main ways to get into it. One of which is here in the Veiled Stair, which is the very expensive route to go. Talking to Madame Goya here, and buying one of the blood-soaked invitations, but, well, this being, the 4th day of the patch being out, prices are way cheap compared to the 100k that they were going for on the 1st and 2nd day, but even still, we're getting a lot of bids in on these, considering that they usually start at about 1,000 to 3,000, I believe, but that's kind of the lowest. Most of them seem to be starting at 10,000, a couple at 15, but even still, that they're going for a pretty good amount of money, big chunk of change. I actually won one just the other day, but that was for almost 30k. Which severely set me back. But that's the first and the main way that most people are trying to get them. The second way is the much harder route to go. And I'll cut now. And I'm back here in Krasarang Wilds for the second way of getting the Brawlers Guild achievement, which is it has a chance of dropping from the 3 rare people from the achievement I'm in your base killing your dudes, which is to kill the 3 champions of the opposing faction. I'm not sure where the Alliance one spawns. Alliance, so I don't really have a horde tune that's very high, but the 3 people that can go and drop it. The first one I'll talk about is Mbunti the Shade. He spawns right about here in the center of this tower. It's PvP capturable, so always good to capture it. Well, it gives you the good buffs, so always would help when killing something. But Mbunti the Shade, he is a troll. He's one of the harder ones in my opinion. He goes and does an attack. For the one that he does for the most part when you're in melee range is he'll do the attack Shank, which will go and injure you a bit, but it'll go and stun you, and then he'll do a second attack of his, which is Heroic Throw or something along those lines, I believe, but it does a good amount of damage, and it is it's a ranged attack also. So kind of the best way I've kind of figured out doing it is running a little bit away, because he'll stay still when he's casting Shank, but he'll basically cast it, you run a little bit away, and then he'll do it, and stop, and then he'll go back in for the attack, and then he'll pretty much, when you get a couple of hits in, he'll be starting to cast Shank again, so you just run away and wash, rinse, repeat for that fight. But I've never had a solo fight on him. There's always been other people attacking him also. So what would always happen is other people would be attacking him, and he seems to just kind of lock on to whoever he wants to, whether you have aggro on him or not. So, and then he'll be using his heroic toss or whatever. He'll be doing that like near constantly. If he's doing that for you, kind of best way. There's 2 good ways of getting out of it that I've found. Either get out of line of sight with him, which is pretty easy with considering the tower that he spawns in, ways of getting out of the line of sight pretty much everywhere, or just kind of getting behind him. That's kind of the main way I always have done it, so that's my way of doing it. And the next one is, they're all up here in this domination point, this triangle island. They're kind of all up here in the triangle. The next one that spawns is Muerta, and she is an undead priest. She spawns right about here. You want to be careful being on a flying mount, because you'll be bombarded by the flat cannons everywhere. But she spawns right about here on this skeleton. I did a different take of this earlier, and that's my dead body right. That's my skeleton right there. Got killed by some lag, but that recording got messed up, so unfortunately you won't be seeing the fight with her. But she spawns right about here. There's a mook that spawns right there. You would kind of think it would be throwing a monkey wrench into it, but not really. And then there is a named mob, or Doc, who patrols around in there. There he is, the ogre. He's a quest guy. But if you do want to kind of hang out on a flying mount and not get bombarded by the flat cannons, this little area in here seems to be the best. This little kind of mostly square with the training dummies. You want to keep a little bit above, otherwise, or Doc will, when he comes nearby, he'll say something and be attacking. So you want to be a little bit up, but you won't be bombarded by the flat cannons at all. But Muerta, she is a undead, by of course the name. Muerta meaning death or something along those lines in Spanish. But she is a pretty simple fight. She's the one I've killed the most. It's just a tank and spank fight, except for 2 of her attacks. She'll be casting Holy Bolt on you. You can pretty much ignore that. That's just her way of doing damage. Second one she'll do is she'll do Chains of Light or something like that. You want to interrupt that, because usually right after she's done doing that, she'll do Wrath of the Light, which summons a circle about the size of my my gyrocopter's propeller here. So decent sized, but it hurts like heck. It does like most of my health, and that's being a tank pally, but it hurts like heck. So you want to go, and it's not interruptible or anything, so you want to interrupt her chains and then just move out of it. I have seen people go and kite her up onto the stump, but well, you need interrupts to go and do that, and the only ranged interrupt that I have is the Avenger's Shield, which hits possibly all 3 of them that were there. But that's the Muerta fight, and then the third one is Car Warmaster. He spawns right here in this doorway here, kind of right here-ish. I've always kind of noticed it's right about by the edge of the doorway, right in the center of it. He is an orc, and he's a warrior, so that kind of gives you a base of his abilities, but he'll go and give you a stacking debuff for reducing your armor by 5 or 10, I think it's 10%, no, 5%. And it goes in stacks, and it'll stack ridiculously high. Highest I've ever had was like 14 or 15 stacks, but it'll go and be on for about 14 or 16 seconds, and then, well, they'll usually go and reapply it in about every 10 seconds or so. So you probably want to stun him about when you have 4 to 6 seconds left in that, and run a short distance away in order to get rid of that buff. But his main attack that he goes and does is a cleave or something like that. Basically, it just has a dust trail going out, and it is pretty dang long of a dust trail for his attack. So you just want to kind of sidestep out of it and not run backwards away from it. And you don't want to get too far away from him, because if you get like more than 15 yards away from him, he'll do a heroic leap onto you. And it hits for like 150k. So none of that's good. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward fight. You gotta watch out for the 2 mobs that spawn right at the sides of each of these doors here. Otherwise, then, there's no real mobs that patrol around on the inside. If you're going to be camping, you gotta watch out on the inside for more of the flat cannons, so nowhere near as bad as with Muerta. But then, and for the spawn chance of each of these guys giving out the brawler invitation, when I was farming these guys, I wasn't exactly, there was no real good number for it, but I've been hearing it's somewhere around like 2 to 8% chance drop for them getting it. For the most time, they'll just drop a commendation, or heroic commendation of Operation Shield Wall, which gives you 250 honor. Other than that, just some regular loot, some domination point commissions, Moe of Harmony, not even a good amount of money, but yeah, it's the commission and the drop chance of the invitation that most people like. You also have a chance of getting the Alliance Insignia of Conquering, which is one of the PvP trinkets that removes all movement impairing effects and all effects that cause you to lose control of your character. So easy way of getting that. 483 item level, so that would help even if you don't use it by just boosting up your item level score a little bit. But if you're going to be trying for all these, I would really suggest going and getting the Oil Baron buff before that for the increased run speed and the mount speed even increase of 75%. But for that you just need to cap this PvP point out here and kind of in the middle of nowhere. But just flag yourself for PvP when you're out there for a little bit, and well, should be pretty easy to get, though I would say be sure to unflag yourself before trying, because the Horde can... You're basically right in their base killing their dudes. But so yeah, they don't take very kindly to that at times. So that's all I really have to say for this. So I think I'm gonna cut out again, and I believe I'll go ahead and show you guys the Brawlers Guild, since I actually got into it. So I'll cut here and see you guys again in a moment. I might as well check on Ubuntu the Shade again real quick, since I killed Muerta not too long ago. Nope, he's not here, so okay, I'll cut now and see you guys in a little bit.